Is, is my guitar? on? Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la. Shabbos, 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 Shabbos. So sein jeden Shabbos. Shabbos soll sein, Shabbos soll sein. Shabbos auf der ganzen Welt. Shabbos soll sein, Shabbos soll sein. Shabbos auf der ganzen Welt. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la.
Let's hear you.
Yontif, 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 Yontif. So sein jeden Yontif, Yontif soll sein, Yontif soll sein, Yontif auf der ganzen Welt. Yontif soll sein, Yontif soll sein, Yontif auf der ganzen Welt. You guys know these words? La 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 la, la la la, la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la, la la la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la. Sholem, 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 Sholem. So sein jeden Sholem, Sholem soll sein, Sholem soll sein, Sholem auf der ganzen Welt. Sholem soll sein, Sholem soll sein, Sholem auf der ganzen Welt. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. We have a lot of guests, and you're so welcome here. Everybody who has come specifically for this evening's Refugee Shabbat. Welcome. Want to welcome our friends from Shepherd of the Hills Methodist Church, Pastor John Waterston and his students who are also here this evening. And a big mazel tov to Bella Young, who is having her bat mitzvah this evening. So there's lots to celebrate, lots to come together around. And if just a couple logistics, if you're new to the synagogue and you need to use a restroom, please feel free to go out at any point during the service. You go to the top of the stairs. It's already going up to the top of the stairs, and then make a right. It's the bathrooms are at the end of the hallway there, and there's a water fountain on the way. If you have a cell phone, please turn off your cell phone or keep it on silent so that we can keep a sense of sanctity and focus on what we're doing here. You can also notice where the exit doors are. There's one here and one here, as well as the one that you've come in on. So if there were to be an emergency, you know what you want to do. I also want to draw people's attention to the fact that this is we're raising awareness about the refugee experience this Shabbat. It's very core to who we are as the Jewish people. You know, when Moses first left Egypt, and we're about to really delve into that story next week on Passover, it was the Midianite priest, Yitro, or Jethro, his future father-in-law, that really welcomed him as a refugee from Egypt with no home to come in and be part of his community. And of course, we know that support allowed Moses to be able to follow God's presence and God's word to take the Israelites out. And of course, the Jewish people have been all over in many different lands, and some of even our congregants here this evening have had the experience of being refugees. And if you haven't gotten to see it now, we hope that after the service, with the wonderful dessert oneg that has been prepared lovingly by many of our congregants, there is displays that can show photos and stories of some of the journeys of our congregants here this evening. The Torah really talks about welcoming the stranger 36 different times. It's a way to say that it's not just enough that we have our own experience as a people, but that experience needs to inform how we act towards others and how we can be that welcoming presence. So it's my pleasure to say a little bit more about that, to invite up Jackie Mentor of the Orange County Jewish Coalition for Refugees. Temple Bethel of South Orange County is a member of the coalition, the Jewish Coalition for Refugees, to share a little bit about kind of the current state of this world that we're living in.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to, Refugee Shabbat, and also Mazal Tov to the Young family.
Thank you.
Those of you who know me, I began my career as a cellist, so I feel most comfortable in front of a music stand. So I'm the executive director of the Orange County Jewish Coalition for Refugees, which started in 2018 as a small group of grassroots volunteers. Some of you are here in this room. And today we serve probably a couple hundred clients a year. And we help refugees and asylum seekers and other displaced people, like Ukrainians, for instance. And we help through direct services and through providing and forming volunteer support teams or welcome circles. You'll hear a little bit about that later. We provide furniture to our newcomers, and we also have educational events and programs throughout the county now that we are no longer doing everything in COVID. And I want to thank, first of all, Temple Bethel and the clergy here and the entire community, because you have so embraced what it means to welcome the stranger. You have volunteers who have been working with an Afghan family to resettle them for over a year, and now another group of volunteers with some overlap who are now helping resettle a Ukrainian family. And you will meet Bogdan from that family later on this evening. And it is no small amount of effort to do this. And it is those volunteers who are on the Welcome Circle, but it extends well beyond just the 8 or so volunteers because the whole community chips in. So thank you to the Temple Bethel community. I was asked to share a little bit, just a tiny bit, about the situation for refugees now in Orange County. We have, since the fall of Kabul, several hundred Afghan families have come into Orange County to start their lives anew here, and also several hundred Ukrainian families have also found their way to Orange County to make their homes here. And some of the Ukrainians may go back, and some may decide to stay. We don't know what will happen yet. And also, there were many other refugees from other countries in Orange County being served by two refugee resettlement agencies. For a time it was one, for a time it was none. But anyway, now there are two. And so now we're also seeing the traditional way that refugees typically would come to our country through the U.S. Refugee Assistance Program that was halted during the last administration. That's now also starting to open back up. So there's plenty of demand for displaced populations who come as refugees, come as humanitarian parolees, as the Afghan evacuees and the Ukrainians are coming, and also those who are coming through our southern border. And there is more demand for services and assistance than our current infrastructure for assisting these populations has the capacity for. So I am happy to share some news that Jewish Children and Family Services of Long Beach, yes, Long Beach, that's not a mistake, is applying to become a refugee resettlement agency in Orange County and will be a highest affiliate. So this is a tremendous development for our community, for refugees in particular. Hi, Lily. So I know Rabbi Kavod mentioned that Temple Bethel is part of our coalition, and basically every synagogue in Orange County that is not an Orthodox synagogue has become a member of OCJCR, and it just goes to show the strength of the Jewish community here to truly welcome the stranger and help those who are making their lives anew here. And as you'll see after the reception, if you don't already know, some families from your own congregation came to the States as refugees. In fact, somebody that I worked with for 10 years is one of those, and I never knew this about her, and I'm so amazed. So to close, I also want to share with you, among the things that OCJCR does is political advocacy, and in the month of April we will be meeting with our members of Congress, with all the members of Congress from Orange County, and I want to recognize Carol Singer, who is OCJCR's advocacy chair, and yes, she does a lot of work. And those of you, regardless of what district you may live in, If you're interested in participating in those meetings, please be in touch with Carol, and we'll work with you and prep you, and it'll be fun. It'll be a good thing. So just a closing note is a quote I heard that I really love, which is, "Justice is what love looks like in public." Justice is what love looks like in public. That's a quote from Cornel West, who you may or may not like, doesn't matter, but he got that right. And what we see here tonight and what we see every day at Temple Bethel is how you have embraced justice and social justice, exemplified in the loving way that you have supported and assisted refugee families in our community. So I want to thank you once again. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Jackie.
So now it's my pleasure to invite the Young family up to lead us in the lighting of candles to bring in Shabbat. And invite everybody else to stand as we enter this sacred time together.
How do you use a lighter?
Squeeze.
You just squeeze it?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher hishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Okay, you may be seated. We're on page 18 and Lecha Dodi, and we opened the opening song Shabbos Zol Zayin was from Eastern European lands. It was Ashkenazi, and now we're bringing in a Sephardic melody for Lecha Dodi, page 18.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. 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 שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיע אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, כיפרת ונפילה. יגו לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונחה, כי היא מקור הברכה, וראש מקדם נשואה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, שבת מקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת מקבלה.
Page 19.
התעוררי, התעוררי,
Means wake up.
כי בעורף אורי אורי, אורי אורי, שידברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת מקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת מקבלה.
Last verse as we greet the Shabbat bride.
בואי ושלום העטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצורה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת מקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת מקבלה.
We'll remain standing as we're going to enter into the main body of the service with the Baruch Hu on page 23. But as we do, want to acknowledge that some of us are here tonight because we're feeling the loss of a loved one, whether we're in the Shiva period, the 7-day period, or the Shloshim, 30-day, or the year anniversary, the yahrzeit of a loved one's passing. We say to you, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem, may the Holy One comfort you and feel the strength and support of community, whether you're here in our sanctuary or with us online. Page 23.
את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך המבורך לעולם ועד המבורך המבורך לעולם ועד.
You may be seated. Page 26. Awakening to the God presence in creation with the coming of evening.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בדברו מרהיב הרמים בחוכמה פותח שערים. God of creation, who makes the evening fall from light into darkness with the setting of the sun. You unfold the heavens with brilliant continue together with the words of Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Page
Shema
29.
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת. Beautiful. Thank you.
All right, we're just going. Mi Chamocha is found on page 37.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא. And the river is wide,
And the river is wide,
and the river is deep,
and the river is deep,
and the river is standing between you and me, and freedom,
and
freedom. We shall overcome, but we shall overcome one day. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא. And the river is fear,
and the river is fear,
and the river is hate,
and the river is hate,
and the river is standing between us and the gates of freedom. Freedom. We shall overcome. but we shall overcome one day. מי כמוך, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא. And the river divides,
And the river divides.
and the river forgives,
And the river forgives.
and the river's a wall, and the river's a bridge to freedom. Freedom. But we shall overcome one day. Freedom. Freedom. But we shall overcome one day. It does feel good.
Shield the children, a prayer for refugees. Lay them down tonight in peace, all the children at the borders of our land. Lay us down tonight with conscience, that we might rise again to ensure the life of those in our care. Help us to spread over our land your sukkah of peace. Help us to repair our broken systems and guide us with your solutions grounded in goodness. Save us from ourselves, for the sake of your holy name. For the sake of eternal compassion, shield the children, and remove from our hearts our inner enemies, the sword of apathy, the famine of feeling, the paralysis of despair. Let us shield them under your protecting love, for you have taught us to protect and to rescue. To be masters of grace and compassion, let us ever protect those fleeing violence and arriving at our shores, as we create a safe, life-giving, and peaceful haven. For then will your sukkah of peace be established in us. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who teaches us how to wrap ourselves in peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, הפורש סוכת שלום, עלינו וכל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים.
Amen. Page 41.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לגזור אותם בריתונה, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש.
In a moment, we're going to stand and begin our silent Amidah prayer, which will begin on page 43. Cantor Young will open us with an opening musical meditation, Adonai Tzifatai Tiftach, and then we'll have some silent time, which you can pray the Amidah liturgy, which goes all the way till page 59, or you can just reflect on the question of thinking about who those people have been in your life that have guided you, have supported you, have allowed you to not be alone on this journey, and to just keep in mind those people in your life that keeps you afloat, and sense their presence and your connection to them. Please stand.
Adonai Satai Tiftach, Adonai Satai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Teilatecha, Ufi Yagid Teilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Teilatecha, Ufi Yagid Teilatecha.
Just take a little time in silence.
When the world feels too heavy on your shoulders, and your heart aches with all there is to do, just remember it's not yours alone to carry. Just look up, I am standing here with you. Hand in hand, we'll walk this road together. Step by step is how we all must start. Build the world through acts of love and kindness. Fix the world by mending every heart. L'alecha hamlacha l'mor ve'lo ata ben chorim. L'alecha hamlacha l'mor ve'lo ata ben chorim. להיבטל ממנה. Take a breath when you are feeling weary. Raise your voice when you are feeling strong. Take this moment to recognize the blessing of the miracle inside that guides us on. On the shoulders of those who came before us, who shine their light so we can see the way for our children, for future generations. We must do the work to finish up the day. L'alecha hamlacha l'mor ve'lo ata ben chorim. L'alecha hamlacha l'mor ve'lo ata ben chorim להיבטל. l'alecha hamlacha l'mor ve'lo ata ben chorim. l'alecha hamlacha l'mor ve'lo ata ben chorim להיבטל ממנה.
It's my pleasure to welcome up Alan Fenning, our congregant, and Bogdan Artemenko, who, with his family, has come from the Ukraine to build a life here in Orange County. And we'll get to hear a little bit about what your experience has been and what your story is. So please, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rabbi. So Temple Bethel, the formation of the Welcome Circle, was actually something that a rabbi raised with Howie Schwid and myself. Howie and I are the co-leads of the Welcome Circle. And I also want to mention the other members of it, Mari Edelman, Robin Ijams, Joan Kirschenbaum, B.J. Russell, and Carol Singer. And thank so many members of our congregational community for your help and support for Bogdan, Yulia, and their family. We're going to, as was mentioned, there's some displays in the social hall afterwards for the Oneg on part of the stories of several members of our congregation who came to this country as refugees. And tonight we're going to get a little bit of the story for Bogdan and Yulia and their families, how they came to come to the United States. So I want to set the stage first, I guess, is with the at the onset of Russia's brutal, unprovoked invasion of the Ukraine. At that time, Yulia and their children, David and Vera, were at their home in Kiev. Bogdan, who is an executive chef and restaurant designer, was in Lviv on the west, working on a restaurant project. And his mother, Larissa, was in Zaporizhia, which you may recognize that name in the east of the country, where the major nuclear plant is located. So Bogdan, tell me a little bit about sort of those first few hours, day or two, as the invasion occurred, and what happened. You know.
Okay. Thank you, Alan. I'll just make some take a deep breath and make introduction. Yeah, I just want to stand up and I want to thank you all just for your help and support. So my family and me personally, very grateful, all of you. So, and for me, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here today with you. Thank you so much. How it all started, like it was very unexpected. I mean, for all, not all, only for me, or for all Ukrainian people there. So, and it was hectic and was on the rush, and it's like a one day movie and a horrible movie. So I was there at the western part of the country, stuck there and could not get to home to Kiev. So, and actually my wife and the kids, they had to go alone. They had to pack up the stuff, drop everything to the car, and go fast as they could. So that's yeah. And my mom's just also she's stuck because nothing was going. No trains stopped, and so luckily she got the last ticket. Yeah. So that's how we all joined together in the western part, just in the safe place.
Yeah, and you made it to Lviv altogether.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
yeah.
took, Yuli, what? You told me something like 37 hours to drive, to make the drive?
Yeah, just since I just stayed and could not get home, so my wife, she had to drive like 37 hours, you know, like half day, all the night, yeah, on the highway, which occasionally were like the highway where most of the people were just shot. That she was lucky just to get rid of it in time.
Yeah, that she had cleared one of the highways about an hour before the Russians were bombing and shooting up the road. So it was pretty harrowing escape. So from Lviv, you got them to safety in Slovakia, was it?
Yeah, just most of the people moved to the western part of Ukraine, close to the Polish border, close to European Union borders, so where they find safe places. Okay. And
right. And then so after they made it to Slovakia, eventually made it over to the United States, but you were back in Ukraine.
Yeah, I stayed there, so I was sure that my family is safe out there, so I stayed helping out for Ukrainian army, and we switched our businesses, our restaurants, helping cooking for army and civilian militia, that's what I did, and I was in the front line for some time, and couple of times got injuries. I was fighting.
Yeah. So thanks. And then amazing thing happened. As some of you may know, the United States has what's termed as the green card lottery, where there's an allotment that's available for people from around the world to apply to get into the United States. And amazingly, it was in end of October last year, early November, Bogdan's name came out of the hat, and he was able to travel to Frankfurt, have an interview at the embassy, at the consulate in Frankfurt, and then you pass the requirements of that interview, and the next day you had a green card, and eventually traveled into the United States. So the family, you reunited out here.
Yeah, so that's...
So now we're passing over all sorts of things and stories that can be told here, but in the limited time here, I wanted to kind of jump to your experience now here in Orange County, and sort of what are the biggest challenges or the hardest parts of this process of trying to restart your lives here, not knowing exactly what the situation is going to be in the Ukraine over the next period of time?
Here is much more easy than there, so for sure. And I would say the biggest challenge for me personally and for family and families of Ukrainian refugees is everything is new. You have to restart your life from the scratch. And adaptation is pretty hard. That's the most hard part. And I know that the situation is getting worse, and that getting into big conflict, and more families come here, more Ukrainians, almost 200,000 Ukrainians came into California. So luckily many of them use the program United for Ukraine and parole programs here. Some were provided chance to work, and that helps. So, but being a refugee is not the best status. Emotionally and internally. I would say we're gonna try the best to become the part of society here and the part of community. Serve the best from us, and doing the best what we can, and from our experience, life experience and the professional experience, and get back to normal life as soon as we can.
Any final comments you want to make before we move on with the rest of the service? And afterwards, they'll be at the ONEG, and you can come up and talk further with Bogdan.
I just once again I want to thank you all. We felt a great support here in the county, in your community, in your congregation. So you did a lot for us, and we as the Ukrainians, as the family, and as a representative of many Ukrainians here, so you can count on our support as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Bog.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you.
So one of the wonderful ways that we bring healing to people in our community is through bringing a challah. Those who are either going through periods of loss or illness and not able to be here, we will go ahead, and this is an opportunity. There's directions here that you can go ahead and take on this mitzvah of bringing somebody a challah. You come to their door after the service. You can call them, and this is a little something from Temple Bethel. And as we're handing out these chalot, want to also just put our prayers and blessings for those in our lives who are in need of physical healing, healing from mental illness or addiction. This one right here goes to San Clemente. Can anybody take this challah to San Clemente? Great.
Thank you. Thanks, Jackie. Double mitzvah.
Our service will conclude with Aleinu on page 64. Please stand.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו כחמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 73. This is where we acknowledge that our connection and our love does not end at all when people in our life are not here with us anymore. If I say the name of your loved one, whether you're tuning in with us online or here in the sanctuary, please stand in honor of your connection to them. We mourn the recent loss of Bella Rosenberg, the mother of our member Annie Rosenberg. We're also observing the following yahrzeits this week: Sylvia Amber, Martin Aron, Abe Aronson, Isaac Berkowitz, Ernie Binstock, Rabbi Meyer Blumenfeld, Edith Bonin, Sidney Karp, Del Christensen, Maxwell Dax, Leila Galatz, Michael Golden, Abraham Green, Ada Greenberg, John Hanna, Joyce Hurwitz, Moshe Ogonikoff, Richard Jager, Sheldon Kaplan, Ruth Blanche Katzberg, Bella Kesselhut, Joan Kuttner, Ruby Liebert, Sarah Liebert, Edward Murkow, Adolf Milner, Lou Piltz, Abraham Rabinowitz, Arnold Resnick, Sid Rose, Herbert Rosen, Sam Rock, Mabobe Sadiq, Annette Sandler, Albert Schneier, Rose Silverman, Barbara Simons, Rose Skolsky, Sandy Solomon, Etna Triper, Gisela Weinberger, Melvin Zarambi, Rabbi Aaron Zimmerman, Helen Zoffer. We're also continuing to remember the parents of members who passed away within the last year: Les Heinel, David McKee, Dr. Leonard Feynman, Jacob Lazarson, Seymour Willickson, Miriam Willickson, Leon Martin Silverstone, Howard Sidney Slusher, Ruskin Berglund, Zita Gluskin, Dorothy Eisen, Celia Levine, Muriel Engelman, Diana Lynn Plosker, and Judith Kovach. Anybody else we're saying Kaddish for this evening? Thank you. You may stand or sit according to your custom for Mourner's Kaddish on page 73.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי תכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. זיכרונם לברכה. May their memories be for a blessing. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום.